In a New Year message, President Muhammadu Buhari assures Nigerians that he will leave office in 2023, promising to help strengthen the electoral process both in Nigeria and across the region. The president has also promised to complete 47 road projects and commission several other projects like the Lagos-Ibadan rail lines and also the liberalization of the power sector. Tonight, we dissect the president's New Year message right here. Happy New Year to you, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloya, Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. What a decade it has been, the past one, and another one that we've just entered into, filled with opportunities. The year 2020 promises to be very promising, and tonight we shall be getting to know what the federal government of Nigeria plans to do for Nigerians. Expectations are high, and the president has made several promises in his New Year message to the nation. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that he will leave office in 2023, but he says that he's determined to help strengthen the electoral process both in Nigeria and across the African region. He stated this in his New Year letter to Nigerians, which was released by the presidency. He's also making promises that there are a list of projects that he will complete and commission in year 2020. Another thing that gets our attention tonight is a lot of issues regarding the state government in Nigeria and the burden of paying minimum wage. We discussed that right here on the program. Before we get started, there are some other stories that you need to know, and they are on our political roundup. Watch.
Governor Sule says 2020 will be a year of deliverables for the people of Ekiti State. For him, 2019 has been used for necessary rebuildings, aligning with the vision of his administration, while comprehensive transformation will be seen this year. Governor Sule, who chairs the Nigeria Governors Forum, is hopeful of better experiences this year in connection with the president's promise of consolidation on his previous achievements. Despite lingering economic challenges, the governor believes leadership commitment and resourcefulness by those steering Nigeria's ship will help position the country rightly. Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the Awka Millennium City Housing Project at the three-armed zone area of Awka, the state capital. The project, being executed under public-private partnership model, is designed to be completed in 30 months and will gulp about 13 billion naira. Governor Obiano discloses that the project is part of his dream to create a smart new city in the state with all the state-of-the-art infrastructure. The Imo State Governor Mike Hedioha, in his New Year message, says his administration will intensify efforts in promoting investment and industrialization to bolster economic development and create job opportunities in the state. The Abia State Governor Kezekbe Azul has assured the people of Abia State of sustained security as well as good governance. In a broadcast to the people, he admitted that the administration has not done it all, but he's determined to deliver dividend of democracy, while also calling on all and sundry to join hands in building the state.
Let's get to it, everyone. The president said that he will be standing down in 2023 and will not be available in any future elections. In his letter, which he titled "A Letter from the President at New Year," President Buhari stated his primary concern as the security of the nation and the safety of its citizens. President Buhari's promise to strengthen the fight against violent extremism and other forms of insecurity in the country. In order to ensure the safety of all Nigerians, the president asks Nigerians to expect to see certain infrastructure projects this year. They include 47 road projects to be completed between 2020 and 2021, major bridges including substantial work on the second Niger Bridge, completion of the 13 housing estates under the National Housing Project Plan, and the commissioning of the Lagos, Kano, Maiduguri, and Enugu International Airport, amongst others. The presidential and vice presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Atiku Abubakar and Mr. Peter Obi, are already speaking about what they think President Muhammadu Buhari should be doing and the government of the day. The former vice president says poverty and illiteracy are major challenges Nigeria must tackle urgently. In his New Year message, Mr. Atiku observed that the rate of insecurity would reduce in the country if poverty was addressed, with a special focus on the war against insurgency in the northeastern region of the country. He says, quote, "We cannot win the fight against terrorism if we do nothing to reduce or eliminate poverty and illiteracy." The former vice president therefore called on the President Muhammadu Buhari and his administration to review its economic policy and improve the situation. His running mate, on the other hand, at the last election, and former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, says Nigeria is not where it should be and blames it on failure of leadership. Mr. Obi is asking the government of the day to strive to seek a pragmatic solution to the increasing security challenges in the country. This year, the issue of minimum wage will be a major one, as labor unions are saying that must be implemented by the state government. They're saying that across the state, it must be implemented, a 30,000 minimum wage. 2 states yesterday said they will begin payment of the 30,000 minimum wage by today, and those states are Bauchi and Katsina State. Tonight, we shall discuss those issues and many more as we have one of the state governors on the program tonight. Is the governor of the APC and also the governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Abdul Sule. He joins us from Abuja studio. Many thanks for coming on tonight, and Happy New Year to you, Governor Sule of Nasarawa State. Many thanks for coming on tonight. A lot of things that Nigerians are speaking about today is the message Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has given to Nigeria or brought to Nigerians today. It was a message that it started with giving Nigerians hopes. And if I may start this conversation by asking you, your party, the APC, is telling Nigerians now that they should have hope in the year that we are entering into, and into a very interesting decade that we have entered into. What do you think can give Nigerians that confidence that your party, the APC, can bring that kind of hope that Nigerians demand and they're looking forward to at the moment?
Happy New Year, Gwenga, and thank you for having me once again. I thank you for that, and I thank those listening and those watching. Going back to your question, is the question of hope. Hope has to do with the credibility of the people making that hope. Hope has to do with the capacity and the competence of the people who are making those kind of promises. President Muhammadu Buhari has been known to be a credible person, has been known to be somebody who is incorruptible, has been known to be somebody who will make promises and keep to those promises. Therefore, going back to the 3 promises this president made when he came into power in 2015, fighting corruption, working on the economy, and the issues of security. Today, yes, we may have 1 or 2 issues here and there. Has security improved? Oh, yes. A lot of security issues have been improved in this country. How about the economy? Has the economy improved? Definitely. The issues of the economy have improved. How about the issue of fighting corruption? We have seen a president who is fighting people from his own party and people who are outside his own party. We are seeing the president who truly believes in the rule of law and is allowing the law takes its course. We are seeing an administration that truly believes in the direction it's going and has the capacity to handle issues accordingly. Therefore, if such an administration makes promises and gives Nigerian hopes, then definitely. Those are the reasons why Nigerians will believe in those kind of hopes. So I think that is where we start.
It's an interesting, one of the most important thing to sell by any leader to any people is hope, because you need hope to stay alive and to stay on course. But the question is, for example, when a lot of Nigerians talk about the debt burden and some of the promises the party has, the APC made at the campaign, and what they have seen perhaps in the last four years of the Buhari administration. Now, what they are saying when they talk about the issues of the rule of law and talk about the issues of the economy and talk about the issues of infrastructure, for example, there were allegations about the issues of the debt burden. Some people are not comfortable that the fact that Nigeria is having more debt to bear at the moment. At the same time, most of the time when you sit at the National Economic Council meeting, does this come to you as a concern as a state governor that your party at the end of affairs at the center is probably leading Nigeria to a debt crisis? Does that give you a concern?
Coming from my background, debt doesn't scare me. It's what you do with the debt that scares you. Today, take a look at some of the states without mentioning any particular state in number. Take a look at some of the states. Some of the most indebted states in the Federation are the states that are seen to have economic growth, economic buoyancy, and economic activities going on. Some of the states that are not having any debt whatsoever are the states actually that are backwards, are facing illiteracy, are facing problems with health, are facing problems with industrialization. So the issue is not about how much debt you take, what you do with that debt. And the issue also going back, if you look at everyone that you go to, including Muhammad Buhari's enemies, will tell you that the man is incorruptible. They may bring his other weaknesses, but they will mention about the person is incorruptible. If that is the case, then you are talking about an administration that is going to take debt and will not ask anybody to keep 10%, 20%, 40% of the debt somewhere outside the country for them. So if at all Nigeria is taking debt and looking at the cash flow of Nigeria, looking at the future of Nigeria. In fact, Nigeria should take the debt for the next 10 years so that in the next 10 years we don't take any debt. Even when Muhammadu Buhari leaves, we are not taking any more debt. That way we know the debt, the money we are taking will be utilized for what we have. Look today at the capital market. Look at today what is happening at our airports. Look at the infrastructure. Look at the activities going on the rail lines. Look at the activities going on within the economy in the area of agriculture. Look at the area that we have done all the backward integration in rice, in cement, in sugar, and in the rest of that. Look at all the things that we have done. So, of course, when you take the debt, you are applying the debt to do something else. The debt in some of the cities like Lagos have been applied in some areas that you can see clearly in Lagos. Is Lagos the same today before it had all the debt that it has taken? So it is not about taking the debt that matters. It is what you do with the debt that actually matters. Is the debt going to grow the economy?
Apologies.
Is it going to have self-sufficiency in agriculture?
Yeah, Governor, apologies to Button. But I wanted to put to you, because one of the things, for example, the Minister of Information said that they realized that the debt servicing issue is a major problem. For example, in the 2020 budget, over 2 trillion naira out of the over 10 trillion naira budgeted for the nation in 2020, 2 trillion and over will be spent on servicing debt. That is a humongous portion and a percentage of our budget. Is that not scary enough? Are you saying that the federal government can go on and borrow as much as they can?
No, not at all. I'm not saying that the federal government can go and borrow as a whole. But now, let us look at the last point you made, and I love that. You mentioned that we are going to service the debt that was taken. When was that debt taken? If you look at some of these debts that were taken, the monies were not even properly applied in Nigeria. You know, we took debts, and actually, most of these monies were the monies that were corrupted upon. And those are the debts that we have to service today. So I'm talking about debt that you can take to apply properly in the area. Some of these debts we are talking about that we are servicing were taken actually since maybe 2007, 2011, before 2015. A lot of these debts that were taken. So if you look at the debts that are taken right now, they are being specifically applied for specific projects. You will see debt taken purely for the rail line, debt taken purely for the road from this place to that place, for power, for petroleum development, and for things like that. But we had taken a lot of debts in the past, cash that had come into the country, and we had done nothing with it, but maybe politics. Those are the debts we are servicing. Those are what should worry us, and they are worrisome. And I strongly believe that we should go back and start negotiating with some of those debtors, similar to what has happened to us in the past during Obasanjo's administration. Because a lot of those money, some of them didn't even come into Nigeria, but we are servicing them today. And government is continuum. You don't have a choice. You must service them. But nobody will give you debt if you do not have the capacity to pay the debt. That is the part that I think you have to, and I think you know this, Gbenga, more than I do.
One very important thing, again, in this matter, is the fact that the confidence that that the people should have in their leaders. Do you think that Nigerians are confident about the handling of the economy by the Buhari administration?
I think a lot of things are changing. Definitely, you see the way economy is being handled. Competence is number one. If you have the proper competence, definitely the world, it's not about you being satisfied, it's the way the world looks at you. Because they are the people who are going to lend you money. Do they feel comfortable that you are managing their economy? Do they feel comfortable about that? So do they right now? To a certain extent, yes. You will see some level of, there is room for improvement. Yes, we do not have the kind of people we had in the past, the Soludos of the world, the Okonjo-Iwealas of the world, because those were big names because of places they worked before coming in here. But you also have people within the system, who have acquired competencies, acquired experiences, acquired the knowledge, and they are managing the economy. And so far, so good from what you are seeing on the economy. Is the economy being properly managed right now? Yes. Is there corruption in the economy? Not as you used to. We used to have terrible corruption in this economy, and I think everybody can attest to that. Today, the body language of the president spells fighting corruption. So people who are really corrupt are afraid to go close to the president. I'm not saying that people are not corrupt these days. Of course there is corruption these days. It is going to take a while to wipe out corruption in Nigeria, no doubt about it. But the people who should take the chunk of the corruption are actually fighting the corruption, because the body language of the man is actually that of fighting corruption.
One thing, again, the president mentioned is the fact that he's going to stand down in 2023. The PDP has said, look, of course, you have to go. That's what the Constitution says. So he's ruling out the issue of the third term agenda. What do you make of that kind of statement? Politically speaking, I probably will put you on the spot. And where do you think the presidency should go come 2023? Which region of the country?
Okay, well, you asked two questions first. Let me go with the first one. The first one is about the president leaving. In fact, whether the president says he's leaving or not, people like us believe he will leave because of his credibility and his rule of law. And he's ensuring that he will leave by the Constitution. So this is not a president that will begin to maneuver and change constitution in order for him to remain in power. People like us believe in that. So whether he says it or he doesn't say it, we strongly believe. And this is not the first time I've had the president saying he's leaving in 2023. Anyway, so I believe in that. Now, coming back to the other one, I'm going to take the
before you rest on that, does it mean that there was actual third-time agenda? Sorry, was it that there was an actual third-time agenda within the APC? Was there that rumor? Was it true?
I think the APC has never even thought of. If it did, I was not part of it. I don't think the APC has never even thought about it, because the man that you are talking about will not accept it. Therefore, I don't think anybody will carry this kind of news and face the president about third-term agenda. So if there was such a news in the APC, I have never been part of it, and I don't think it is going to fly.
All right.
So that aside,
I will allow you, Governor, apologies, Your Excellency, I will allow you to tackle the second leg of the question, because we need to go on this break. But one man is in the news again. He's a former governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, whose vacation video has generated loads of controversy. Take a look at him. Online comments was due to the permission granted to him by the court to travel on medical grounds. Mr. Fayose, who is being prosecuted by the EFCC for alleged money laundering, told the Federal High Court in Lagos that he was sick. On December the 7th, the court granted him permission to travel abroad for medical treatment. Well, Mr. Fayose says that he's gone for a medical checkup. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the governor of Nasarawa State. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We've been talking about the New Year message of President Muhammadu Buhari, those things that he promised. He said he's not going to run for a third term. In essence, he said he will stand down in 2023. A lot of issues are on the table. A lot of Nigerians are expecting what his government will give to them in terms of performance of what they said at the campaign. And the president has said today that he will commission several projects later this year. The governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Sule, has been talking to us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Governor Sule, for talking to us. Let's get back to the conversation and perhaps get to the second leg of the question I asked, where you think the presidency will go. As far as the APC is concerned, is it still going to the north or where in 2023?
Yeah, thank you, Sheun. I truly believe in inclusiveness in governance. We truly believe in rotational presidency. So I will not hide it from you that if the presidency, according to our constitution, goes to another part of the country, I will be one of those that will support that. I strongly believe that for inclusiveness, for peace to reign, and for people to feel they belong, presidency should rotate. I don't have any problem supporting that. However, competencies, capacity, honesty of people, and the kind of candidates that will sustain our party. Because, with the exit of President Muhammadu Buhari, definitely our party will be shaky. So we need to have somebody that has the competence, the capacity, and the acceptance, to be able to take this party to the next level. But if you are talking of the generality about what the party believes, I strongly believe in inclusiveness. I believe in making sure that people should come together and all Nigerians should be given equal opportunity, to contest. I believe that is my position, Sheun.
One thing that is very important, perhaps I should quickly go there, is the issue of the minimum wage. Maybe we should leave this conversation for now because that also concerns you. And two states, Katsina and Bauchi, said they will start the implementation of the minimum wage today. Now, for Nasarawa State, for example, the reality is here, you had 108 billion naira budgeted for Nasarawa State. The question is, how much of the state governors or the states can afford the 30,000 naira minimum wage? For Nasarawa State, for example, can you bear the burden of paying 30,000 naira minimum wage?
The budget we have written is to accommodate that. We have already agreed in our own budget for 2020 that we already set up a committee. The committee is reviewing. It is not the 30,000. A lot of people misunderstand it. I don't think any governor is fighting 30,000 as minimum wage. And any governor is saying we cannot pay 30,000 as minimum wage. It is the incremental after that. Because, from 18,000 to 30,000, you have seen a huge percentage of roughly almost over 40%. So are we saying every governor, can say we can afford to pay that? And that is where the issue is. So for us in Nasarawa, the committee is going to review 30,000 is sacrosanct. It's the law. We have agreed. We will pay that. Nobody is even questioning that. There is absolutely no ambiguity about that. The next issue is how much are the incrementals after the 30,000? And I think that's what every governor is fighting with. Because, you know, the way Labour thinks, Labour is thinking that the incremental should also be on equal percentages, you know, just like the federal government has done. Not every one of us is as rich and can afford as the federal government can. So that's the reason why we set up these committees, to sit down and agree with them. Once we agree with them for Nasarawa, we will start it immediately. The committee actually submits, because it's part of our budget.
But in the real sense of it, because it wasn't too long before a lot of states in Nigeria said they came out and they didn't open up to say that we're insolvent, but it was obvious. Economists were saying that a lot of the states in Nigeria were insolvent, meaning that they cannot bear the burden of running their state financially speaking. As it stands right now, how many states do you think are in trouble? Is your state inclusive in terms of what is on the ground? There have been first, second, third layers of bailouts from the federal government. How can a state governor, for example, run a state in terms of revenue generation with what is happening in the present economic state of the country?
No, you see, the insolvency, every state in the federation still relies on FAC. There are only 1 or 2 states in the entire federation that can say, from our IGR, we can run the state right now. That's the situation. You know, but what happens is that, and coming again from my background, if you give people the opportunity to work, you must find a way to pay them. So question of insolvency doesn't even come in. So we started by going into the system to say, have we given these people the work to do? Yes. Therefore, we must find the money to pay them. So we have walked around, and we are working very hard. Going back into our IGR. The IGR, we are looking at it in totality, from the solid minerals we have on ground, to the taxes that we are actually not paying, and to sensitization of people actually avoiding to pay what they are supposed to pay, to services that we are saying we are rendering that we can't afford to rent. You know, so we have to look at all these things in totality. We can't just look at it and say, okay, we have given this, we are doing education free, health free, this free, and then at the end of the day we say we don't have money to pay civil servants. That cannot be acceptable. You know, if you have civil servants that you have given them the job to do, you must find ways to pay them. And that's the way we are looking at it from Nasarawa State, and that's the way we are working on it.
Are you one of those who believe that government is over bloated? That the cost of running government is too much? Are you one of those who think that perhaps it's in government or public political office appointment should be reduced to the barest minimum?
I strongly believe in that. That's why in my state, up till this moment, I have not appointed PAs. I have not appointed I've appointed only 15 SAs, you know, special assistants. I have not appointed PAs up till this moment. It took me over 5 months to appoint commissioners, because we are looking at the economy itself and we are trying to manage. You know, so, and by the time we actually got cruising, then we had saved some money that we can say, now we have saved this, we can actually bring in people and do that. If you are talking of overbloating, I think everyone believes that. Governments generally, and this is worldwide, Sheon, governments generally are known to be inefficient. You know, inefficiencies you find in government is so much. There is no doubt about it. And this is everywhere around the world. You know, I've lived so many years in the US. It's the same in the US. You know, it's the same problem. In Germany, it's the same problem. Nearly everything works in Germany, except services that are being provided by the government. So I think it is uniform worldwide. But, you know, can we improve on it? Yes. Do I believe in the question you said? Yes, I believe we are overbloated. I think we have reduced the number of ministries in Nasarawa from 18 to 13. Because we say we don't need 18 ministries. We reduce them to 13. You know, and then now I told you I reduced the number of special assistants to 15 maximum. That's what I got. I reduced the number of commissioners and this and that. That's what we are doing. You know, and if I don't believe in overbloating, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Governor, before I allow you to go, in 30 seconds, please respond to the response to these. Your party is facing a huge internal crisis. There are those who are thinking that the national chairman should go. Are you one of those who think that he should go? Because we understand that some governors are cooking his exit. Give us an understanding of what is happening. Is there an implosion in the APC?
You are using some huge terminologies. You say we are having a huge implosion. We are having this. I think what we are having is normal. We have seen so many other parties where national chairmen were changed. This chairman was changed, actually came in to change another chairman. So if there are people who want the chairman change, they probably have their reasons. Am I one of those that want the chairman change? No, I believe in the rule of law. I believe things shall follow properly. I'm not one of those that are campaigning for Oshomole to go, definitely. I don't agree that he should go in with the kind of thing. I believe, like the way the president has cautioned us, that whatever we are going to do, we shall follow due process and the rule of law to do that. And that's where I stand. But I don't think it's an implosion. I don't think it's a huge problem. I think it's a thing that has happened over and over. Solomon Laru was changed immediately with Gemade. Gemade was changed immediately with Audu Egbe was removed quickly to bring the former Labour Minister, General Obasanjo's regime, this and that. All those, was that implosion? No, definitely not. So when a chairman is going to be changed as a result of some other issues, the people will have their reasons, for changing the chairman. But as far as I'm concerned, I think we should follow things properly, and we shall not create too much tension within the party. We shouldn't create problems where there are none. And for me, that's what I believe.
Governor Abdullahi Sule, Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, thank you so much for talking to us tonight on Politics Today.